Well, welcome. And today it is the 28th of June, 2023. I'm talking to Marcela Krejciková about a subject we would like to call aperture or diaphragm. This is something which has, what has helped Marcela to deal with a few things, and she's going to tell a little bit about that now.
Okay, so hello everyone, the same, and from me, and thank you, Svier, for the opening. And what I would just like to share a bit, because this is something which has been just up to date for me for now, what has seemed especially helpful recently. So few kind of comments or sentences just came to me, something like, look where I am, where I have got so far in my life, and just be grateful for that. Notice how I feel moment to moment and adapt accordingly. In other words, accept that simply. And there was a nice film, by the way, which is called Medvídek in Czech, something like Little Teddy Bear, directed by Mr. Hřebejk, with Ivan Trojan, Petr Macháček, Tatiana Vilémová, Anna Geislerová as the main actors and actresses. And what really hit me while watching that film from the year 2007, by the way, how Ivan Trojan says at the end something like, you don't have to understand everything, but you can simply accept that. And that was really something which just hit me like a ton of bricks, that we don't have to understand always everything. However, we may try hard to do so. What if we just accepted that? And then what came to me, keep looking and heading for what you really like, what you love, what makes you happy, what brings joy to your life, and do it. Just do it. And again, be grateful for that. And if something looks difficult, first of all, notice again. Then take the best care of you. Be loving, careful, understanding, accepting and forgiving towards yourself in the first place. Always, but in those lower moments especially. And last but not least, in the cases of I don't know, simply see it, notice it again, and allow to yourself not to know for a while, but also ask the universe, higher intelligence, infinite potential, what could be the best solution in this? Or what am I supposed to learn, see newly here? And stay curious about that. Following curiosity and interest, but the feeling in general as my guidance, and yet not to think much about myself either. Again, noticing and trusting it's not on me anyway. What's coming next and next, etc. But what's on me, how I react to it, on what I focus, if on positivity or negativity because that grows then. And again, nothing is wrong, as I can notice again whatever and adapt accordingly. Keep asking myself, how do I want to feel now? So those were my ideas, my contemplation kind of yesterday, the 27th of June, 2023.
That was beautiful, Marcela. And that was exactly what it's about in the principles.
Mm.
It's staying curious, staying, well, keep noticing stuff. And that's what which is all about. We have to keep noticing. And we are so prone to trying to understand stuff, trying to figure things out, and trying to find answers. Sometimes there just aren't. Sometimes there aren't answers, and you have to just accept this is what it is. And that's okay.
Mm.
That's okay too. But we have to learn to accept that we are being lived. We don't have anything to say what happens to you. You can try to control that, but it's a lot of energy. It takes a lot of time. And most of the time, you don't get the result you anticipated. But what, for me at least, what happens all the time when I try to predict the future, I try to live to that future, I get stuck. I get just stuck because things don't fall into place as I want them to fall. They never do, because I'm not in control. And the great thing about that is once you understand that and you accept that and you give yourself over to what's happening in your life, then suddenly you get more room to look at stuff. And you, as we talked earlier, your aperture opens as if you fold off your blinders. You throw off your blinders, and suddenly all kinds of new things, you notice new things which are happening at that same moment, which you can use to get where you intended to be. And once you are trying to focus on that one thing you want to achieve, it doesn't matter what it is. But the funny thing is, that thing starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's nothing else at some stage. So you can't really notice anything else. So you're blinding yourself all the time.
And the feeling tells you.
And the feeling tells you
Everything.
because it doesn't feel okay.
Yeah.
We have such a sound way of understanding what's okay and what's not. It's your feeling. It tells you all the time, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And I've made those mistakes in the past where I was stepping into something and said, oh, this doesn't feel okay. What's going on? Yeah, well, let's do it anyway. And then I got the results, which weren't in my favor.
Mm.
But still, we got along. We got around, or we got over it, whatever it is. And then suddenly you say, oh, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't be trying to control this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also where fear starts to come. Because as soon as you try to control things and they don't go as you intended them, your brain doesn't have any information of what's going to happen next. And he's trying to predict, your brain is trying to predict what's going to happen next, because then you're ready to take on anything. But it doesn't have information. The only source of information your brain has is your memory. That's old information. That's information from the past. It has already happened. And there is no guarantee that it will happen the same way as your brain predicts. Mm. There's no guarantee. So your brain is confused because it can't predict the future. And we cannot. There's no way we can do that. So we get stuck there. and your brain can't figure it out. And then oh my God, I don't have control. How am I going to deal with it? And say maybe that happens or that happens. Oh my God. And that's where your fear starts. Because then you feel, I'm not in control. I can't control this. And you don't have to. Because we can always respond the moment things happen. Because that's decisive. That's determining what's going to happen next.
You know what's just coming to me as you were talking about that? Well, yes, I get it. And yet it has happened to me recently that I got again in those, let's say, habitual situations, habitual patterns. And it was happening now. And I had to react. And of course, the brain recalled, oh, this is something you don't like. And you have been thousands of times in that. You don't want that, do you? I said, no, please. And in that moment, ego was taking over, obviously, and was tempting and pushing me to run away, to escape, finally, because you have been in that thousands of times. You don't want to bear it anymore.
You don't want to go there.
Yeah. And so...
And that happens to us all. It
yeah,
also happens to me.
I could see it. It was happening.
And that's the point. When you notice it, it's happening. Then you can take action.
Yeah.
You just need to notice it.
I think my physical body had started even reacting a bit about that without me knowing about the thinking at all. In fact, I couldn't notice it, I think. And yet the body had been already giving the signals to me even before. But yet I couldn't help myself to start focusing a little bit on those even physical aspects and trying to solve them. And maybe even based on that, I started to get a bit louder. And then as I was a bit louder, I wasn't able to react in a let go way. And it started to feel awkward and not so nice. And I got into that escape modus, let's say. But I could notice all the time what was going on. That was the only thing this is a good news to me compared to the past. And then it came to me repeatedly, just be patient with you, just be patient, keep looking in the direction, what makes fun, what's important, get glimpses of those nice moments, because in those louder moments, it looks, as we said, the aperture closes. We can't see. We get kind of
like this very tiny hole.
But yet the energy is still going through.
Yeah, absolutely. Powerfully.
Until we are here. So it's just to be trusted more and give hope, have hope, see that hope more. And hope that, okay, if I keep the direction of, let's say, focusing on my joy, even though it looks, I don't want to be happy now. It looks really awkward in those louder moments. I don't know if I want to go for that, and I don't have enough energy, and blah, 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 blah. And although they have been even really exciting events in my life recently, and I could see even myself just feeling something like, oh, I should be more excited about that. But then seeing myself, no, it's just judgment, how the things should be or shouldn't be. What if you just keep noticing and looking in the direction which makes sense to you, and then seeing also that, what if even that is not on me, which thoughts come to me. I don't have really any control of that. So even those thoughts which I can seemingly not notice, and they provoke those physical reactions. So what if I just didn't have to understand it, as that actor said in the film, and I just accepted that? What if it's not to be understood? What if it's just to be accepted? In other words, trusting it's not on me. But what's on me, although that's a question too, how do I react? How do I decide to react? But I mean, is that decision, even that decision, if it's on me? That's a question, you know?
if it's even a decision.
Yeah.
And there's another question which comes to mind for me is, who is the I who is thinking that? Who is the person, between brackets, who is thinking that? Is it my ego? Is it my soul? Is it my body? Who is
the living energy going through me?
What is it? And very often I find myself, when I get obnoxious or distraught, I find this little foot stamping child in myself who's saying, "Oh, I don't want this, and it's not for me," and I'm feeling treated badly, and this, and he's just a vague memory of who I used to be a very long time ago. And it's so funny if you just try to pinpoint that, who is doing this? Who is the I who is doing that? Is that my expanded experience? Is that who's the one who is open to everything? Or is it my ego who says we have to do it this way and that, and it's all controlled and it's all contained in it?
Look like this way, or
like
that way.
And it's so important to understand. And sometimes it's your body. Your body needs drink, or needs food, or needs a shower, or whatever it is your body needs. It will tell you. And it's so important that we learn to listen to that, because if we learn to listen to those signals, to those often unheard, unfelt, unseen signals, and they are there all the time. It's so important that we listen to them, because then the aperture opens by itself, and you don't have to do anything for that. And it's that's so great.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add that it's so amazing that the aperture opens anyway, sooner or later. That's what I have seen.
Yeah, it does.
As you were again sharing, it occurred to me as I was over the weekend with one of my best friends, and we visited very nice UNESCO heritage town of Třebíč in the south of Bohemia. And I was still, even though I was having fun, I was still a little bit louder. And for example, when I was driving the car and we were just going through those beautiful villages and getting closer to that town and visiting something, I could feel myself as if I was watching myself by camera, as if I was coming out of my body, watching myself driving and talking with a friend, as if, who was that? I was really so amazed by that. What was that? Or interested or curious. What was happening? Although that's not a good idea to come out of the body and watch myself driving, but it just looked so. And it came to me at some points that, all right, you don't feel so good. And then it came to me, but now look at that. You feel just great. So it was just, all right. So what if it's enough just to feel great in between and just notice that?
Yeah.
And I kept noticing that, let's say, coming out of my body and then being in my body, being really present with what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And still it didn't feel so. And when I got back home, I felt a little tired, probably full of experiences. And it was pretty hot weather, by the way, too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why after driving 3 hours or something like that, and in a heavier traffic too. And so it was okay too. And then I think I didn't do anything special. And yet, just like this, I felt better in one moment. And I knew this lower something was just dissipating.
It was only a part of your consciousness, only a tiny part of your consciousness. If you remember the exercise we did in the past about you being a consciousness where your body is inside it. So it's completely logical to go outside of your body and look at yourself. And we can do that sometimes, not all the time. But
Obviously,
sometimes
I did it.
Yes, you did. And that was the best way of proving it, that you can be aware of yourself without being inside your body. So there's more to this. And the great thing is that once we understand that we have these bouts of negative feelings, experiences, and sometimes we have very happy experiences, and it goes up and down all day. It's never a flat line. I always say, if you have a flat line, you're dead. We never have a flat line. We always go up and down and up and down and up and down. And it can be something like this. It can be nothing, which can bring you down. And then suddenly, oh, wait a minute, I don't need to worry about this. This is just a thought. This is just my thinking, just my memory, which tells me, yeah, that's what it is. It's as simple as that. If we just learn to accept what's there and don't worry about the how or the why or the what it is, it doesn't matter, really. It matters how you respond. That's the only thing which really matters. How do you respond to that in that moment?
And yet I can make, so to say, mistakes. But what is a mistake, in fact? It's again a concept, maybe made up concept, a judgment of something. Was it really a mistake? Wasn't it again meant to be?
Could be. You're learning.
Seeing the memory as feeding it up, the experience. Yeah. Do you want to accept that?
Yeah.
Let's say that food or not?
Yeah, it is. And in fact,
I want to choose. Yeah. How do I want to feel?
And isn't that beautiful that you can make almost any mistake and then carry on from there? Yes, of course, you can make mistakes which have real consequences. But most of the time, you don't do those because you already know that it won't be wise to do things like that, which have permanent consequences. And I had this discussion with a young lady recently who was telling me she wanted to die. She wanted to solve all this. And then I said to her, that seems to me, that seems like a very permanent solution to a temporary problem. You don't feel okay now. But I could see you smiling at the dog earlier. And you were playing with him and you felt okay at that moment. So why would you give that up?
Beautiful.
And it's so important that people who have those thoughts understand that they are trying to find some permanent solution to a temporary problem. It's really a temporary problem. It always goes by. You're never depressed all the time. You never want to kill yourself all the time.
Yeah. And yet sometimes it may look it's a bit longer than we wished.
Oh yeah, it often is. Most of the time, it's much longer than we wish. We want it to go away, and then we try to find a solution to get it away. Well, it's the absolute solution then for you in your thinking seems to be let's step out of this life. Then everything's over. But that's not helping because something of you stays there. Something of you, which is, I think, your soul. We call it in the West here, we call it a soul.
Or spirit.
Or spirit. That stays. That's indestructible. It cannot be destructed because it is nothing. It's only a consciousness, awareness. Nothing else. And you can't cut it. You can't break it. You can't crush it. You can't do anything with that. It's not physical. It's just energy.
Yeah. So just looking for what I really love. That makes sense to me, and just do it. And in those slower moments when the aperture just gets narrower, just even in those moments, remain persistent and patient.
Hold on.
You will see more.
Trust yourself and trust the love which we are already.
Or even the glimpses you get.
Yes. There's tiny specks of light.
Yeah. Where you feel even for a little time happy.
Yeah. And we know we all have these moments where you are happy, even if it's only for a nanosecond.
Yeah.
We all have these moments. Go back to those.
Yeah.
Cherish those.
Exactly. Because from that, miracles can happen.
Yeah,
it opens the aperture.
It opens the aperture again. And it just opens by itself. You don't have to do anything for that.
Exactly.
Isn't that wonderful?
The only thing we have to do, at least how it looks to me, just keep looking in that direction, be in the ready position for that, hoping, trusting.
Isn't it wonderful?
And just do the next step, which seems meaningful. What is that? Can be anything. Follow your joy. Take the best care. Give yourself, let's say, the dosage of joy.
Yeah.
When needed.
Yeah. An injection.
Even more. Why not to take more?
Give yourself a shot of joy.
Yeah.
Or happiness. And we all have those moments. I have those moments every day when I walk the dog. I can see her respond to the world, respond to everything around her. She was chasing crickets yesterday. I loved it because she was so keen on trying to catch a cricket. She'd never caught one. She was so keen on trying to catch a cricket. It was completely immersed in that activity. Nothing else was there. And it's amazing how people and also animals and everything that lives can go up into something which is grabbing.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It makes me happy.
It reminded me of our cats when I'm with our cats, just lying next to them, stroking them.
Mm-hmm.
They start at
yeah, there's that spinning. Yeah.
This is such a moment of presence. And then as we were on Monday at the graduation ceremony of my daughter, finishing a technical school, we were in a Bethlehem Chapel in Prague, which is just a lovely place.
Mm-hmm.
Old place, old chapel. And
Prague is beautiful.
they were
city.
playing the lovely music, and I just got goosebumps, and then I could just see myself, just tears rolling down my cheeks in some moments, and it was really moving. And who makes that? Who starts those tears, for example, rolling over your cheeks, and you just see that. So I dried my cheeks, and then again after some time, and that was so beautiful. And when I succeeded to, because I don't usually prepare long time for taking photos, I love those shots, taking shots, taking it in a moment. And I succeeded, I think, to catch my daughter with those sparks in her eyes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I got it. Successfully finished the university after 6 years, and that happiness, that pure happiness was visible, was touchable.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Isn't that enough? Or however she wished to take, as they wish to have those photos with flowers, and the family was moving here and there. And I said, just let's be patient, because, if grannies or granny needed to catch the airplane because she was flying somewhere, I said, if they needed to go, please let them go. And if they wished to stay, they could. And I could just see that it was just unfolding organically, and no need to push or press ourselves that it should be this way, that way, because originally we have thought we might not go for lunch, and then we went because we are organizing the festive event at the weekend and blah blah blah. But it just unfolded organically, and just accepting that.
Exactly.
Reacting moment to moment.
Absolutely. Accepting what's happening in front of your nose.
Yeah. Knowing she just enjoyed herself.
Yeah.
That was the main point. We were just those side actors in that play. She was the main person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same happened with the marriage of my daughter.
Yeah.
She loved everything of it, and she was so happy with how things developed, and we just facilitated the whole situation.
Yeah.
We brought a sound system from the Netherlands, so to support the events and speeches and so on. And I lugged that thing around the whole day. It was quite a big. It's over there. It's a big case and quite heavy. So I was lugging that thing around, and everyone laughed about it. Well, there's the father, the father of the bride with his speaker set again, and we had fun because it added to the joy and the happiness of the moment, and it was wonderful.
So just, as you said beautifully, cherishing those moments.
Yeah, we have to cherish them, because that's what's keeping you sane.
And in between, if we are just quiet, noticing that, right.
Yeah, and it's also okay to feel. It's okay to feel bad as well, because that's also part of life.
Yeah. Nothing is really wrong. Who says that?
Yeah, life happens to us, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Who makes us happy? Who makes us sad? Who's that?
We do. We do.
Who is we?
Yeah, absolutely. Who is we? There's a lovely book. Maybe you like it too. It's called The Untethered Soul. It's from Michael Singer. Maybe you've heard about it. And I would like to recommend it to you. It's quite nice. It gives you an idea of what's going on. What's deeper within you. And it's nice. It's a very nice book. So I'm reading it now.
I'm reading Thriving in the Eye of Hurricane by
Oh,
Joe Bailey. So
oh
it's
yeah.
wonderful, full of stories, and I love that too.
Yeah. Joe is coming to a webinar in August.
Is he?
Yes, next.
Right.
And he's in Spain, I think in September, where he's got a retreat. But I mailed with him yesterday, and he responded directly and said, "Well, I'd love to come to your webinar and do a session." So next week we'll have Ghana Studley, and next month we'll have Joe Bailey. So he will be there too.
Bill Pettit?
No, Joe Bailey.
Joe Bailey.
Joe Bailey. Yeah, the book you're reading now, the writer of the book.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Shall we leave it at this
Yeah.
for today? Wonderful. Thank you. I'll stop the recording.